Hello there. So, a couple days from now, we'll be celebrating St. Valentine's Day. And on a day like this, you can almost believe that spring is coming. So, some of us, our hearts turn towards, our minds turn towards the whole topic of romance. So I thought I'd talk to Renee a little bit, kind of a resident expert on the issue of romance, and ask a little bit about, a whole number of questions I have. Just, for instance, what is it that makes a romantic relationship work? What are the kind of the elements that are important?
I think I've found that it's just most important to accommodate for what the other person needs, and it kind of varies for everyone, but finding out what that person values most and then accommodating for that specific need is important, and finding out what they really care about.
So kind of holding the other person's needs as well as your own. Do you think guys and girls want different things out of relationships, out of romantic relationships?
Yes and no. I feel like you can often, like, girls are put into the box of being more sensitive and boys the opposite. And definitely I think in some cases that's true, where the boy has to be able to, like, be wary of the fact that the girl might be more sensitive. But oftentimes it goes both ways, where both people need to be sensitive about each other.
Well, speaking of sensitive guys, let's talk to Henry. I mean, here's a guy that's extremely sensitive, and what do you think about that, Henry? What do you think are the components of a healthy relationship, romantic relationship?
I'd say mostly communication, because you also can't know like what the other person's needs and wants are without being able to communicate with them and find that out.
So, do you feel like you can be too honest in a relationship?
No, I don't think you can ever be too honest.
Yeah, it's so important, eh? What about relationships at Shawnigan? Is there anything that kind of comes to mind that makes relationships at Shawnigan a little different or more tricky, or things you have to keep in mind?
Yeah, I'd say everything about a Shawnigan high school is different from other high schools. Like, we're living together, we see each other a lot more, but in senses we also see less of each other, like not being able to go into each other's houses.
Right. Right. So some freedoms and some restrictions, and yeah. What about you, Renee? What do you think about relations? What makes relationships at Shawnigan kind of unique?
I've, like, personally found that the most difficult thing is being able to balance, because we're supposed to be in a sport and a fine art, all of our classes, and we have, like, specific times that are endowed to specific things, and it's just hard sometimes to be able to cut out the time in your day to spend time with that special person when there's so much on your plate all the time.
Mm-hmm. Right. That makes a lot of sense. The other thing I'm wondering about is, relationships at Shawnigan people kind of come together. They have a romantic relationship sometimes for a long time, sometimes for shorter times. And I sometimes want to say, it's okay, relationships at this time of life, it's good to, you're learning, you're trying out things, you're learning how to get along with people. Do you think it's okay if relationships kind of end? And sometimes I know it's a bit traumatic, but anything for people to keep in mind about that?
I just think that, like, especially in this time of our life, we're changing so much. Like, every day you're changing, and we're growing up, and so people are going to change, and it's okay to let go of relationships sometimes, because there's probably something better around the corner, something that will work better for you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm going to end with Henry. Henry, what's the best thing about being in a romantic relationship?
Just maybe feeling the sense that there's somebody out there who cares for you, that's not like a family member, and that it's somebody who really cares for you.
Beautiful. Okay, thank you so much, both of you. Really wonderful to hear from you, and some really good words of wisdom for all of us. So there you go. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Have a wonderful week, and enjoy the weekend.